Namaskar and welcome to the ninth day of our Navaratri Satsang of Navavidha Bhakti. So, interestingly, actually, my initial thought was that today is going to be the last day. So, I had thought that the ninth day, because it is Navaratri, so ninth day will be the last day. That kind of thing I had in my mind. When Usha, who is part of our satsang, she made this poster for us to share the information to everybody. She said, I have put it as 26th September to 5th October. I hope that is okay because I assume you're doing on Vijayadashmi day also, she said. So, and she also mentioned that Vijayadashmi, so let it be like, a symbol of Vijaya or victory for our sadhana so that we can also grow in our spiritual practice in a better way. So I said, fine, okay, Usha, I will assume that the Lord is speaking through you and Guru is speaking through you and trying to convey that message to me. And that's how it came to be that today also and tomorrow also. So tomorrow will be the last session of our Navavidha Bhakti. So let us begin with the prayer for today. Prarthana. By the Guru's grace and the will of Sri Krishna, we have all assembled for this Navaratri Satsang. May we have their guidance to be able to learn and adopt the things which will help us to grow spiritually. Manatita pratita vibhavam mangalam mangalanam vakshah pithim madhuvijaino bhushayantim swakantya प्रत्यक्षानुश्रविकमहिमः प्रार्थिनीनां प्रजानां श्रेयो मूर्तिं श्रयमशरणः त्वां शरण्यां प्रपद्ये यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुग्म व्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये. So, offering gratitude to the Guru that he has blessed us to be able to have these sessions, and especially today, although it is late, but still he's made it possible for us to join in and have the satsang today also. So today on the ninth day, we are discussing about the ninth aspect, which is the last aspect mentioned in the shloka, that which is called as Atmanivedanam or surrendering to the Lord. So this is considered as the ultimate in bhakti. So you start by hearing about the Lord, then you chant the Lord's name, then you remember him all the time. Because of all this, the desire to serve him starts growing, and then you do Pada Sevanam, so you serve his lotus feet, then you offer him worship in whatever mode is possible for you. Then you begin to physically, mentally, through your speech, in every way, prostrate to him. As we do more and more of this sadhana, then gradually the emotion develops that the Lord is my master and I am only his servant. So that is the dasya bhav. And as we become more and more intimate with the Lord, the sakhya bhav will develop. And finally, as the ultimate, as the end of our journey of bhakti, we have the attitude that there is nobody except him who is mine in this world. And that is when the bhava of Sharanagati, of surrendering to the Lord, will come into us. So, this quality of Atmanivedanam is exemplified by Bali Maharaj. We all know the story of Vamanavatara. Bali was an Asura king. He was the grandson of Prahlada. And he had all the good qualities. Everything was good in him. And yet, the only problem with Bali was that the Acharya says he had great desire for real estate. He wanted to keep expanding his empire. And that is why he was called as Bali Chakravarti. He was the ruler of the entire universe. And he wanted to take over Swarga also. So he took away, he fought against the Devas and he took away Swarga also. And because of this, Indra asked help from the Lord. Not Indra, actually his mother, Aditi Devi, asked for help. And As a blessing to Aditi and Kashyapa, the Lord said, I will be born as your son and I will help you overcome this problem. So the Lord is born to Aditi and Kashyapa in the form of Vamana, as a small little young boy who is a dwarf-like status. Now, this Vamana comes to the place where Bali Maharaj is carrying out the yajna. And whoever comes to the yajna, whichever Brahmana comes there, they are offered gifts. And whatever they desire, they can ask, and the king will give it to them. So when Vamana comes, he's so full of radiance and he's so bright and so, very sweet looking that Bali is very much attracted to this child. And he says, okay, what do you want? You ask. Um, this Vamana says, I want nothing much. I just want 3 paces of land, 3 steps of land. And Bali laughs and says, you are such a tiny uh, person. Your steps will not cover anything much. You ask for something else, he says. No, no, I just want this much. And at that point, we know how Shukracharya, who was the guru of Bali, warns him that be careful, there is something fishy here. Nobody comes like this in such a small, form and asks for 3 paces of land. There must be something else here. But Bali says, no, I will go. I have given a promise now. I cannot go back on that. And he agrees that, okay, I will give you 3 paces of land. You can measure, he says. And at that time, we know how Vamana morphs and changes his form into Trivikrama. He grows very huge and so huge that his head reaches the upper worlds. His feet are, almost long enough to reach the lower worlds. And like this, he measures. With 1 foot, he covers the entire Bhumi and the nether worlds, the lower worlds. With the other foot, he covers all the upper worlds up to Brahmaloka. And then he asks Bali, I have covered 2 steps only. Where do I place my third step? He asks. And at that time, Bali Maharaj realizes that this is none other than Vishnu himself. And the attitude of Bali, now he realizes, I was too proud of my belongings. I was too proud of the fact that I'm Chakravarti of the world. And in that pride, I had acted in an irresponsible manner. And he feels thankful that the Lord has cut him down to size, that the Lord has shown him. And more importantly, he also has this feeling that how fortunate I am that the Lord came and asked me for something. The Lord is the universe, the master of the universe. He owns everything. And yet, he has come asking me for something. He is asking me for a dana. How fortunate I am that the Lord is asking for me, and I have the privilege of giving something to the Lord. And realizing all this with all these thoughts in his mind, he places his head, he bows his head. All along, Bali was standing very upright, and his head was raised in arrogance. But now he bows his head and he says to the Lord, please place your foot or your third step on my head. That signifies the surrender of Bali. That is what is Atmanivedanam. So when Trivikrama presses his foot on Bali's head, he gets pushed into the lowermost loka called as Sutara Loka. And the Lord is so pleased with Bali's devotion that he says, you will enjoy the position in that Sutara Loka, which is even greater than the Indra Padavi of Swarga. And the Sudarshan Chakra will be there to protect you in that loka. And the Lord himself, it is said, stands outside the palace of Bali there to watch and protect over him. So such was the greatness of Bali, that he understood that this is where I'm going wrong and I have to surrender whatever I have and my own self to the Lord. Now, from the Lord's perspective, if you look at it, this shows his greatness also in another way. Anytime in our worldly life have we seen someone who is a master go and beg for something for somebody? The master is always used to ordering people around and to instructing other people and to getting his things done. But he is never going to go and bow down before somebody else and ask him for help or ask for something to be given. But see the Lord's greatness. When one bhakta that was Aditi and Kashyapa, Indra, when they approached him to get that devotee, whatever he requires, the Lord does not mind, you know, pushing himself down and lowering his status and becoming inferior and going to the level of begging for something just to make sure that his devotee is protected. So, this is the greatness of the Lord, and this story should give a lot of hope to all of us that although now Lord has two gunas which are very important. One is called as Paratvam, that is his greatness, his magnanimous nature, or his great abilities, and the other one is supremacy, rather we can say. So he is a supreme Lord, that is Paratvam. And on the other hand, he also has the quality of Saulabhyam. He is easily accessible for us. In this world, we see that if people have a lot of power, they are not accessible to us. And people who are accessible to us don't have a lot of power. So the two qualities never go together hand in hand. But in case of the Lord, in case of Sriman Narayana, he is the repository of both these qualities. He is not only supremely powerful and the universal master, but he is equally accessible to all of us. All we need to do is to call out to him and he will come to our help. So that quality of the Lord we can understand from this story of Bali Maharaj. So why should we practice this Atmanivedanam? In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord himself has told, he has very emphatically declared to Arjuna. What did he say? He told him everything about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, every possible path, every possible mode that Arjuna can use to reach to the Lord has been explained. And at the end of it all, the Lord says to Arjuna, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarvapapebhyo moksha ishyami ma shucha. Don't fear, Arjuna, he says, because Arjuna is scared, Arjuna is confused. So the Lord reassures him, don't fear, do not have any kind of worry. Because if you are getting confused about all these different paths that I told you, and you are not able to decide what you should follow, then the only thing you need to do is you leave all that. Forget about all those things. All you need to do is surrender to me and only to me. So when you surrender to me, I will make sure that you are liberated from all your papa. Your papa will no longer affect you in any way, and you will come to me. This is the reassurance that the Lord gives to Arjuna. Now, there are some people who misconstrue or misinterpret this, and they say that Lord has said, don't do any dharma. He's not said, don't do any dharma. He has said, follow the path of dharma. But with respect to the particular activities that you want to do, whether you should follow karma yoga, you should follow dhyana yoga, jnana yoga, what should you do? If you are not able to make up your mind with that, then all you need to do is surrender to me and I will show you the right path to follow. And I will take care of you and make sure that all your papa is destroyed. So, taking the message from Lord's words himself, we must follow this. And that is how we must practice this Atmanivedanam. The second thing is that why now we know mentally, we have heard, we have read, we know through the intellect that we must surrender to the Lord and all this, but it is so difficult to practice because constantly we are in this worldly life and constantly this whatever Maya is doing is showing its effect on us, and we are getting lured into whatever is happening in this world. So focusing on the Lord is quite difficult for us. Then what should we do? In the seventh chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Daivi yesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. My divine energy. Now Maya is not something which is having a separate existence. Maya is nothing but the energy of the Lord himself. But it is affected by the three modes, that is by sattva, rajas and tamas. So everything in this universe, that pull of that Maya is difficult for the Bhakta to overcome on his own. But who can overcome that? Only those who surrender to the Lord. For this, many times the example is given of, let us say, I have a friend and the friend, I want to go visit the friend, and the friend in his house is having a pet dog, right? And that dog is very fierce, and anytime I approach the gate, that dog starts barking a lot, or it comes to bite me. So I'm scared to go inside, and I'm not able to go meet my friend. So somehow, scaringly, I sometimes I go up to the gate, I come back, or I try to enter and then I come back. Something like that may be happening. But suppose, let us say, I call my friend beforehand and I tell my friend that, see, I'm coming, you please keep your dog chained up so that I can walk comfortably and come and meet you. Now, if the friend puts that dog, into ties him with a chain, or if that person orders the dog that, be quiet, this is my friend, stop barking, don't disturb us, and the dog goes away quietly, then I have access to my friend. So similarly, in this example, if we see, the friend, the master of the dog, is the Lord. And who is that dog whom we are talking of here in this example? It is the Maya. It is all those things in this material world which lure us and pull us away from the Lord. So if the Lord tells Maya that, don't trouble this person, he is my bhakta, leave him alone, then she will be quiet. So that is how we must make use. And that is why we must constantly keep doing all the kinds of worship that we can, so that we get closer to the Lord. When we start doing more and more, the Lord will consider us as his own friend, and then he will order Maya to stay away from us. Now, this concept of surrender is, many times people take it in a negative way, because especially in the Western world, in all those cultures where there is a lot of materialism and a lot of individualistic kind of an approach, people say that I am independent and I have supreme power, so why should I bow down to anybody, why should I be inferior to somebody else, right? That is the way they look at it. But we can't, although we are saying surrender, we cannot really equate that concept of Sharanagati or Atmanivedanam to anything which is, explained by this word as surrender. Because the whole concept of Sharanagati is alien. It is very different from whatever is this individualistic, independent kind of an identity. Now we think we are independent, or we think we are doing things ourselves, but we are not independent. We are not Swatantra. We are Paratantra only is our quality. We are dependent on the Lord. And actually, therefore, surrendering to the Lord is the natural process. And trying to be independent is the artificial thing. But we've got so carried away with the pull of Maya that we think that it is natural to be independent and surrender is something, abnormal. So, what is this word Sharanagati? What does it mean? Sharan means shelter. It can also mean the refuge. It can also mean the feet of the Lord. Agat means to come to. So, Sharanagati is, the meaning of this is to take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, and only the Lord's lotus feet. So, realizing that one does not have any other Sharan, only the Lord is my Sharan. That is the concept of Sharanagati. How can we practice this Sharanagati and Atmanivedanam? There are two examples. One is that of Vibhishana. We all know about how Vibhishana gave up his relation with his brother because Ravana was not on the path of Dharma. And Vibhishana felt that his duty is to be on the side of Dharma. So, leaving his own brother, he came over to Rama's side. Now, when he comes there, at that time, Rama accepts him unconditionally. I think we talked about it previously also, that how so many of the Vanaras did not want to accept Ravana, Vibhishana. They said that he is a spy, or he will come here and do some damage, or it is not safe to keep him here. And these Rakshasas, we don't know how they are. They will suddenly change their form, and they will pretend to be one thing, they will be something else. People say all the Vanaras said different things. So according to that idea, because he is, the brother of Ravana, the common thing we talk about, isn't it? That we say if there is a neem tree, then there will be only neem leaves in that. A mango will not grow on a neem tree, isn't it? So like that, if Vibhishana is from the same family as Ravana and Kumbhakarna, then definitely he is going to be bad only. Nothing good can come out of him. So don't take. That is one set of opinion. The other side is represented by Hanuman, who says, no, no, I have gone and I have seen him. He was the one who saved me in the court of Ravana. He is definitely good. So we must take him. At that time, the Lord says that these concepts, both these things, are actually wrong. Just because he is bad, I should not accept him. That is wrong. Just because he is good, I should accept him. That is also wrong. Because my promise is that if somebody comes Sharan to me, if somebody surrenders to me, then irrespective of whether he is good or bad, I am going to accept him. That is my quality. We talked previously about the Charama Shloka of the Ramayana. Sakradeva prapannaya tava smiti cha yachate abhayam sarvabhutebhyo dadametat pratam mama. So if once one person says, I am yours, then I'm not bothered. Is he a good person? Is he a bad person? So I will not judge and accept. The very fact, the simple fact that he has come and fallen at my feet is enough for me to accept. And in fact, Rama tells Sugriva, because when all this discussion is happening, Vibhishana is still he is waiting for permission to come and join their side. So at that time, when Rama sends Sugriva to convey the message to Vibhishana that you have been accepted, he also tells him, look, Sugriva, you are going now to convey to Vibhishana. By some chance, if you find that Ravana himself has come there in the meanwhile, don't come back to ask me whether we should accept Ravana or not. You bring him also. I will accept Ravana also. That is the greatness of the Lord. That is his, what you say, utmost love for all of us. All we need to do is surrender at his feet. Actually, there is one more story which is told about this same episode. We know how Vibhishana was crowned, right? The king. So when Rama says that I will make Vibhishana the king of Lanka, then at that time Sugriva asks him that if you make him king of Lanka, and you are saying if Ravana comes, I will accept him also, then what will you give to Ravana? So Rama says, I will make Ravana the king of Ayodhya because I have given Lanka to Vibhishana. So I will make Ravana the king of Ayodhya. So Sugriva says, but then Bharata is ruling Ayodhya. So what will you do to Bharata? What position will you give him? So Rama says, I will make Bharata the king of Vaikuntha. And now Sugriva is totally taken aback. He says, if you make Bharata the king of Vaikuntha, then where will you go? What will you rule over? So then Rama says, I will rule over the kingdom of the heart of Hanuman. Such is the greatness of the love that the Lord has for his devotees. So, like Vibhishana, we must practice Atmanivedanam. What is it that we can understand from the example of Vibhishana? Many times we are also faced with a difficult decision that I have to do something which is right and I have to do something which is pleasant, right? Even the Upanishads, even the Mahabharata talks about this. There's always a conflict between what is right and what is pleasant. So, do we choose what is right or do we choose what is pleasant? Do you choose prayers, which is pleasant, or you choose Shreyas, which is right? So, if we choose to be on the side of the Lord, if we choose that which is Sreshta in any given situation, if we choose that which is the path of Dharma, then always the Lord will be there to bless us and take care of us. And one more thing we need to remember is that when Vibhishana came from Lanka, there were those four other Rakshasas. I think you can see it in the picture here. There were those four other Rakshasas also who came along with him. Now, nobody asked them for their qualities or why you have come or anything. The minute Vibhishana was accepted, those four were also accepted by Rama. So, if sometimes we don't have the ability to approach the Lord on our own, never mind. Catch hold of somebody who is a bigger devotee and you tag along with that person. And just the fact that you are come along with that person will get you the same kind of benevolence of the Lord. That is what is significant for us. Because many times we are not at a level like Vibhishana. We cannot surrender like him. But maybe we are like those Rakshasas who came along with Vibhishana. So then we will also be blessed. We will also be protected if we learn to go along with such a person. And here again, we can understand the importance of being in Satsanga, having Bhagavata Sambandha. We should be in contact with others who are devotees of the Lord. That way, we will benefit from that also. The other example is that of a potter who was called as Raka Kumbhar. We already saw in one previous episode about a potter called Gora Kumbhar. That was different. This is a person called Raka Kumbhar. Now, this Raka Kumbhar was a very compassionate being, and all the time, whatever work he was doing, he would keep, singing the Lord's bhajan and all that. So he was a bhakta, and he was also very compassionate. Once he had to bake the pots, so he put them into that, what they make, that kiln like thing. So he put it into that, and the fire was lighted. And then he had forgotten to check all the pots. So as the fire was lighted, he heard the mewing of a cat, and then he remembered, oh, the previous day, one pregnant cat had been running around their house, and then he realized that that cat and its kittens were the ones who were mewing, and he was so, now that the fire had been started, they couldn't put out the fire and bring out the pots because it was blazing hot, and he feels so bad that I have done wrong. I have committed a crime. Now those cat and kittens are going to die, and it will all be my fault. Because of me, they will have to die. And he's so upset about it that he prays very fervently to Vitala. He says, "Please, Vitala, do something to save those cat and kittens. And if you do that, I promise you, I will give up everything of this worldly life, and I will be always only occupied in your bhakti." He prays like that to the Lord. Now, after 2 days, that fire goes out. Now, nothing is happening. There's no sign of Vitala coming and helping and all that. So, in the meantime, this Raka Kumbhar and his wife also, she is also a bhakta. So, both of them, seeing that nothing is happening, the Lord is not coming to their rescue, they both faint. And finally, when they become conscious again, they see that the fire has gone out. And they are, scared to open and look and see that those cat and kittens have been killed. And when they go there, suddenly they hear the meowing sound of these cats and kittens. And all those kittens and the mother cat are perfectly safe and they have come out alive. So now Raka Kumar is overwhelmed. He says, "Oh, Vitala, you listen to my plea." And from that moment, he gives up his business of pottery. He and his wife, they take to just, all the time singing the glories of the Lord, all the time doing kirtan. They will just go to the forest, collect whatever fruits and roots they can find, and survive on that. That is the way in which they are living. Now, one day, Vitala and Rukmini, Rakumai. So they are, like seeing all this. And then there is a discussion that is he really so detached? Has he really given up worldly attachment? And so on, right? So at that time, they decide, Rukmini says, I want to test. So they go into the forest and they are invisible. The Kumbhara and his wife cannot see them. But Vittal and Rukmini have come there. And what they do is, Rukmini places her necklace in one spot so that when these people pass by, they will see that. So this Raka Kumbhar comes there first to that place and he sees, what is this? Something is shining. So he sees that shining thing and he looks around and he sees, where is his wife? So when he sees that she is also coming that way, quickly what he does, he takes a little mud and he covers up that necklace. And then she comes there and she says, what are you doing? What is this? And then he says, no, there was a necklace, so I covered. So what she says is, why did you have to cover it up? She uncovers that mud and she picks up that necklace and she throws it into the river. So now Vitala laughs and he tells Rukmini, see, you came wondering about the detachment of Raka Kumbhar. But now you realize more than Raka Kumbhar, his wife is a bigger devotee because he thought that she may get lured by that necklace and he covered it with mud because for him still there was this sense that it is gold and it may attract her. But see her detachment, that she had, it made absolutely no difference to her whether it is gold or something else, and she actually threw it into the water. So not just Raka Kumbhar, his wife also is so much detached, how much they have surrendered themselves to me. And that way Raka Kumbhar and his wife passed this test which was set by Vittal and Rukmini. So whether we can go to the level of Raka Kumbhar is highly questionable. But in small ways, in whatever ways we can, we must try and surrender to the Lord. So if we want to do this, how do you go about it? And that is what is prescribed in the six, properties or the qualities which are required, the six angas, what are called as, for the concept of Sharanagati. So in the Lakshmi Tantra, it is told, Anukulyasya Sankalpaha, Pratikulyasya Varjanam, Rakshishyatitti Vishwasaha, Goptrutva Varnam Tatha, Atmanikshepa Karpanye, Shadvida Sharanagati. So how should somebody practice Sharanagati? How can you become a Sharanagata? How can you surrender to the Lord? What is it that we must do to earn this title that we have surrendered to the Lord? First thing, Anukulya Sankalpam. Whatever pleases the Lord, whatever will give him joy, only do that. Do whatever actions you are doing with an eye on whether God will be happy about it or he will be unhappy with it. Right? So Anukulya Sankalpa means you know that following whatever is told in the Shastra pleases the Lord, so follow that. You know that ahimsa is what pleases the Lord, so follow that. You know that showing karuna to your fellow beings is what pleases the Lord, so do that. The second corollary to that, Pratikulya Varjanam. Whatever is going to displease the Lord, don't do that. Lord has told, don't get angry, don't do dambha, don't be a hypocrite, don't pretend to be one thing, don't feel jealous. There are so many things that the Lord has told. Don't trouble other people, do not hurt anybody, do not eat the flesh of animals. So, all this, whatever the Lord has told, what is the meaning of that? They are specified, the Shastras have specified what is it that is not to be done also. So, that when we don't do, we avoid doing those things, we stop doing those things which give displeasure to the Lord. And that is the second thing. So, first thing we do what pleases the Lord. What does not please the Lord, we don't do that. Third quality, karpanyam. Feel helpless that you are totally incapable. Now, if we say we are doing sadhana, we are doing namjap, that again, saying that I am doing is not at all the right idea. I am not able to do anything. The Lord, by His grace, has to take care of me. So that feeling of helplessness is called as karpanyam. Mahavishwasam. Vishwasa we know is belief and faith. Mahavishwasa, total faith, unshakable faith, unflinching faith. That the Lord is the only protector. That quality we have to develop. Goptritva Varnam means request the Lord, seek His protection, pray to Him, and say, "Oh Lord, I have no other solace. You are the only one who is here. Take care of me." And Atmanikshepam, entrust the burden of protecting you to the Lord. Surrender even that thing that I am asking for His protection. He will protect me. That burden of protecting me is His. So that when we follow all these six modes and we do all activities in our life keeping these six things in our mind, then that is the time when we can say that we are proceeding on the path of Sharanagati. So we must pray that the Lord only should bless us to do all this. There is, although we are, see, it is like we have been blessed with intellect, we've been blessed with the opportunity to understand that spiritual practice is important. As it is told, no, we are not a body which is having the soul. We are the soul, and that soul has a body. So once you realize this, then getting lost in material world is a very foolish thing to do. How difficult it is after how many janma punyas and sukrita we have got a manushya janma. Now, in that manushya janma, to have the satsang of people who are sadhakas is even more difficult. And to have access to know how to pray to the Lord, how to reach Him, that is even more difficult. So we have got all these things now. Once we have all these things, what we need to do is to put whatever action we need to put for that. But at the same time, realize that all that happens is happening by the Lord's will. Now that we cannot use as an excuse and say, okay, today I did not conduct the satsang. Fine, it was the Lord's will. Do I say that? No. Because just as we saw in yesterday's or previous day's thing, that thinking of your personal comfort is not going to make you go ahead on the spiritual path. What I do, will it please the Lord or will it displease Him? If I, like today, for example, let us take today's example. Conducting the satsang, although it is 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, that may cause some amount of personal discomfort. But if I'm going to think about personal discomfort, then that means I have not thought about what is pleasing the Lord. So the focus is on me and not on the Lord. But if I decide that I will do it because this is what is the Lord's work and this is what will take me ahead on the path of sadhana, and with the idea that Lord only should bless me to do this, then that is what will make the Lord happy. So understanding this, we must try at every stage in our sadhana to practice whatever we have learned. So all these 9 days, today, to just quickly sum up, we have talked about the last anga, which is Atmanivedanam, that is surrendering to the Lord. We saw the example of Bali Maharaj, how Bali overcame. Finally, he surrendered to the Lord. And how the Lord does not mind stooping down to the level of begging for something just to protect his devotees. Such is the great karuna the Lord has on us. Why we must practice? Because the Lord himself has told that you don't need to do anything else. You do whatever you can or you don't do whatever you can't. You surrender to me and I will make sure that you are freed from the cycle of birth and death. Maya is pulling us all the time, but we must turn to the Lord. And if we turn to the Lord and He will control Maya, and then we don't need to worry about it. But that will come only when we surrender to the Lord. And we saw through the examples of Vibheeshana and Raka Kumbhar that how it is important to always make the right choice and also to have divine grace. What all we must be doing, what we must practice so that we have, more and more opportunity to go ahead on the spiritual path. So we've talked about all these things. So we're starting from the day one of our Navaratri satsang. We have talked about all the 9 angas: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So we have discussed about all these things. And now is the time to start putting it into practice. So tomorrow also we will have a session, as I already mentioned at the beginning itself, that taking it as the Guru's will, as Acharya's will, that we should have a session on the 10th day also, that the Acharya spoke through Usha. So we will have a session tomorrow also. By God's grace, if He wills it, it will happen at 8 p.m. If, like today, I have some guests who come and when it gets delayed, we will do it. But we will make sure that we finish the sessions correctly, because that is a commitment that we have given to the Lord. So let us hope and pray that the Lord will bless us to be able to continue and finish is not the right word, because this sadhana marga is going to keep on going and our satsang will keep on going on for as long as the Lord wills it. But this topic of Navavidha Bhakti, we have seen the 9 different aspects, and tomorrow we will sum up everything along with some few concrete action points about what we can do. We will take inspiration from some other bhaktas whom we can learn from, and we will decide how to go ahead on our spiritual journey. So let us offer Kritanyata at the lotus feet of Mata Mahalakshmi, Sri Krishna and Guru for inspiring us to start and join this satsang, and let us pray for their blessings and grace to always be on us. We should also offer gratitude that all these days we've been able to have the satsang so effectively, so nicely by His arrangement. So let us continue, and tomorrow we'll meet again at 8 p.m. as per our Sankalpa. Remaining is Bhagavad Sankalpa. Thank you. Namaste. And thank you for joining, although it's been so late in the night. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you, Ansuyaji.
Thank you, Sarnaji. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Ansia.